the Pod Network Entertainment.
The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed on this program are the speaker's own. The material and information presented here is for general information and entertainment purposes only. This program might include strong images or language and may not be suitable for all audiences. This podcast was mainly created for fun and entertainment, and because we're the only podcast that has a big enough bravado to talk about all these. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome back to the Kingdom Podcast Season 4. This is Yuki, this is Sammie. You can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and on YouTube. Subscribe to us there at the Kingdom Pod PH. If you want to follow me on Instagram, you can follow me at Yukmeister. For Sammie here, Sammie, where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Sammie De Leon with 2 N's at the end.
Heck yeah. Anything that you're doing currently, Sammie? Is there any projects that you can leak to us?
Oh, I just did an episode with Blogger Play, and I believe it's out next week, so you can watch out for that. It'll be on at Blogger Play on YouTube.
Awesome. Alrighty. Well, please, guys, go check that out. A big shout out to TPN and Blogpalooza for making this happen. Thank you, everyone who's been involved in this guesting. Super cool, super chill episode in the last week's episode. But obviously, it's there for things that are happy. Sometimes you gotta get through the dirty stuff, and but I'll try and keep it as light as possible by asking this here. So, Sammie, let's talk about BTS here, and your love for them. Obviously, your love has been very well documented for BTS, and again, in the previous episode, we talked about how BTS is the greatest group of all time that came from KPop. It's like you got introed to you. They got intro to you. 2017, Boy with Love. Was the love
2019.
almost 2019. Yeah. Was the love almost instant?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It was actually shocking to me because before, BTS and One Direction would always be in the same category.
Yeah, it's
and obviously I would be like, One Direction.
Yeah.
So it was really unexpected as well for me. Because there's this saying in ARMY that the boys find you when you need them the most. So it was like, I don't know. I think I'm very religious. Like my family is really religious. So
Right.
I believe that if God puts people in your life, it's for a reason. So I feel like BTS was put in my life for a reason, which is really funny because before I was always like, yeah, One Direction.
Yeah.
Then, yeah. So I feel like it was really instant. Like, I didn't even have to think twice about, yeah.
I thought we were gonna go biblical by saying like the army that's prays together stays together.
No.
No, I hear you, and it's like obviously it's like you were you were in a different place back then, so having them with you at that time would probably been beneficial for you, and your progression and whatnot. So that's super cool to know. Now I want to ask if ever that you've also had the same experience like most of us had when it comes to standing a group. And the question I want to ask is, was your first bias still your bias?
No.
It's like, okay, it's like in recent times, like I was just talking to our PD before we started the show. And I was talking to him, and I asked him, I was like, who's your bias? Then he told me his bias and whatnot. It's like, yeah. And then we were talking about aespa. And I was like, in aespa, my first bias was Winter. Minjong was my first bias. But then Karina happened. It's like everything just went to, it's like it's Karina.
Yeah.
So who was your first bias? And the
Taeyong.
question, Taeyong. Okay, so
Yeah.
V was your first
V.
bias. Yeah. Why did it change?
I don't know. I honestly don't know because I
See,
feel
yeah,
like in 2020, um, it was almost 2021 if I remember.
yeah.
2020. Bang Bang Con. Jungkook was
Hmm.
in this double denim outfit. And for the longest time I remember being in denial, like no, my bias is still tame, bias is still tame. And then one day it was just Jungkook. I don't know why. I honestly don't
No,
know
I
why.
get you 100%. It's like, and it makes you normal, you know. It's
Yes.
like if you think about it, it's like if we're looking at, it's like for me, for instance, like I was a big winter bias. It's like my brother-in-law. We had our nicknames even in Messenger. It's like ako si winter fan number 2, and he's like winter fan number 1. So you know, but then at the same time, it's like I saw, I think that was Savage,
Oh yes.
and
It became
man,
Karina.
Karina is just like such a beautiful person, you know?
She is.
There's a lot of things that I can say about it's like a lot of idols, but whenever I talk about Karina, it's just like her beauty. It's like resonates. It's like there's this aura with her. I feel like she's one of the, you know, the most beautiful K-pop idols currently, you know? So I there's just a ton of things that I can say about Karina and Winter and Espa in general. But yeah, I mean, like any other fans, like my first bias wasn't really the bias I you know I have right now, and I get it because you just don't know
Yes.
why. It just
You don't
happens.
know why. It just
Yeah,
happens.
yeah, wala like wala eh. It's like andun na, like oh ito yung nararamdaman ko eh. It's like you know you
Exactly.
can't really pinpoint anything, you know?
Exactly.
And it's like, you know, it's like, how do I compare it? It's like, I wouldn't probably compare it to anything, but it's like, you know, it's just your feeling. It's like, you
Mm.
know, you don't have to have a reason. It just
Yes.
is. So, yeah, man. Good stuff. So, as a fan, so, you know, they're in their what? How many years now with BTS?
um
Since debut?
10, 11.
10, 11 years, right? So, over a decade down with BTS, and a lot of things happened. Obviously, they became the biggest of all time. As a fan, it's like, what would you like to see from them after? It's like obviously you want to see an album, right? And
Yeah.
it's like an album is happening one way or the other. It's like it's gonna be a BTS year, BTS show all over again. It's like I'm really sorry for the other groups that are competing, and I've talked about this in length in other episodes where I thought the boy group scene was so stale. And it's
Oh,
not
really?
because yeah, it's like it's not competitive at all. Look at the girl group scene. You got freaking Espa up there. You got Les Seraphim. You got Ive. You got New Jeans, who's like probably leading, you know, the girl group scene now. But then it's like you look at BTS, like BTS right up here, and then you look at the other groups that are there. It's like Stray Kids, the Seventeens, the TXTs,
17's doing really well.
EXO. 17's doing really well, but it's like if you look at it, and I'm again, my opinion, haters, my opinion, BTS, and it's like everyone else is right over here, and it's like it's just so different. It's just so different. You really can't do anything, and that's why I thought it was still, cause the competition isn't as fierce, and it's
Everyone's
not.
entitled to their own
Yeah,
opinions.
and again, it's like I'm not blaming the groups. This is not
Yes.
the group's fault. And it's not even management, it's just the sheer amount of popularity that BTS is in. They are untouchable, probably until the end of time. When people talk about K-pop, they'll talk about BTS, and people will definitely say that, oh, this guy's simping for BTS. Like I'm not even the biggest BTS fan. I just recognize that they're the biggest group of all time.
Yeah.
So
I also
obviously, it's
feel
like
like it's Army's doing
oh yeah,
because
for
I'm
sure.
a multi-stan myself and I see the dynamics per fandom and the support that Army has. It's really, I don't know how to explain it, but
It's insane.
they're really like, oh, you need to vote, you need to vote. They're very,
Mm-mm.
very like into the whole voting thing, and I feel like that's what helps BTS a lot. This aside from them having really good music and music that people can really resonate with. So I feel like that's one of the reasons why BTS is where they are today.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's like Army had been very like important when it comes
Oh
to
yeah.
how they are, like where BTS is now, and that's why obviously BTS loves armies like around the world. You know, it's like it
Yes.
just shows that BTS loves their
Yes.
fans. But
That's why we have a saying in the fandom: "Stan a group that stands you back."
that's true. Yep. And it's like, it's like it just like, I think where it goes here is that it's like my baseline here is respect. It's like for
Yes.
any person, right? So any person, any fandom, my baseline is respect until such point that you want to take it a step further and be an asshole about some stuff. So, yeah, I mean, it's like, it's like I can respect you if you respect me, and we can have like an
True.
intellectual conversation. And I'd rather have an intellectual conversation than people commenting on the show like, who the fuck are these people talking about this and that and speaking this and that? It's like, okay, cool, man. It's like chill, take a chill pill, just like sit down, see a movie, and fuck off. It's like it just happens. It's like, but it's like, dude, you're giving me the time. You're
Off
listening to the
day.
show, and again, it's like I don't hate them, to be honest, and it's like, and that's only me, where I get a ton of hate. It's like if you check on YouTube, you check on TikTok, I get a ton of hate because I'm very vocal when it comes to K-pop. But at the same time, it's like I don't hate these people. They give me the amount of time that they give on a certain day, and they comment on stuff telling you their thoughts. And sometimes like it's great. Sometimes I really do pick up something from them,
Yeah.
and I take that to heart. And it's like I'm speaking from the heart here. It's like I take that to heart, and it's like I just apply it whenever I host the podcast moving forward. But then sometimes like they're just the trolls. It's like walang kahit anong basis yung sinasabi nila. It's like you're just there to troll you. And
Remember, any publicity is
is
still
good
good.
publicity. Yep. Yep. Yeah. Yep. Spoken like a true content creator, Sammy. I love it. So, it's like, and I guess like that also applies to BTS. It's like people tend to hate them,
Oh yeah,
probably
a
because people
lot.
are envious of where they're at. It's not, it really all boils down to envy a lot of the time.
Yes.
And it's like obviously because they're untouchable and whatnot. So there's some heavy stuff now. It's like we're going through, it's like the heavy stuff that I wanted to talk about. So being a content creator, obviously you're getting a ton of hate like I am. So we're in the same boat. Obviously we're not in the same level when it comes to the amount of people that tunes in on us, but at the same
Yes.
time, it's like that hate is always there.
Oh yeah.
And K-pop, from the outside looking in and asking people, it's like K-pop, pucha ayoko sumali dyan. Pucha, toxic ng mga tao dyan, gato,
I
ganyan,
get.
ganyan. And
I
it's
get that.
true. It's true. The fandoms that we looked into when it comes to the podcast, a lot of these fandoms are toxic. I've
Yes.
named them over the years that I've done this podcast. This is my 4th year of doing the show. So there's a lot of toxicity. It's like
There.
K-pop is just very toxic. So I wanted to ask you, as a content creator, it's like, what are the downs? It's like what kind of hate were you getting at the time?
Ugh.
Is there,
Over the pandemic, I'm telling you, everything just happens over the
heck yeah, man.
pandemic.
Yeah.
Yeah, because everyone's on their phones, right? So there's
Yeah.
really nothing else to do. But personally, I understand the reason why I got canceled for this. So there was a video of Jungkook that I reacted to, and it was a bit of, in a way, I would say sexualizing it, in a sense, because he was making kimbap. And then I didn't really say anything, but it was my facial expressions, and I was just like, oh my god, right?
Okay.
So somebody called me out for that, and you could say that I was cancelled. I really was cancelled, and
Mm-hmm.
it actually took a toll on my mental health. Cause of course you don't know these people online, and I apologized and I acknowledged that what I did was wrong, and I promised not to do it again. I've lived and I've grown from what I was a few years back,
Of
and
course, yeah.
yeah, but I honestly feel like some people, they saw it as educating, but not thinking that it was already online bullying. Because they were saying a lot of things about me. They were calling me names. They were trending hashtags about me. And it
Holy
really took
shit.
a toll on my mental health. Yeah. To the point where over the pandemic, we had like this prayer every night. So we would pray like the divine mercy and stuff like that. So before we prayed, I asked my mom, um, can we pray for the people who are saying stuff about me? So my mom was like, okay. So one of the intentions she put was like to strengthen me. Like the entire time you were praying, I was just crying and crying and crying. And what I felt before I found BTS, like that super dark and like not in the right headspace
Yeah.
um place that I was in, I felt like it all like came crashing down on me again. Like I felt like, well, I literally relapsed in a sense, if you put it in a medical term.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was pretty heavy. It went on until like 2022, I would say.
Holy crap.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was really bad. It was really bad. All from one video. So yeah, I had to see a therapist and everything. So it wasn't it wasn't good.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. It's like if I touched the nerve there, I was like, and I
No, it's
appreciate you
okay.
sharing that.
It's
It's very
okay. I'm
brave of you.
actually happy it happened in a sense, because if it didn't happen and it happened later on, I feel like it would be a lot worse. Because,
That's true. Yeah.
yeah, at least now I know my boundaries as a fan, and that I should respect the idols as well because they're also humans, even
Yeah.
if like people put them on this pedestal. So
Yeah.
yeah,
It's like
it's a
it's
learning
not.
experience.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's like I think like with the things that you've dealt with, it's like you know, God gave you cards that you can play with, and it's just really cool that you got to experience that, like what you said earlier, compared to now, because you know at least the development and you know the evolution of who Sammy is now
Yes.
came in earlier than you know where you're at currently. So you know, I appreciate you know the openness that you talk about that, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people you know um, appreciated that you apologized for something like that. Um, yeah, it's a heavy thing. It's like, and especially currently where people tend to go cyber, like cyberbullying is currently a
Yeah.
thing.
Educating. Cancel
Educating,
culture.
it's like oh my god, cancel culture. Oh my god, it's like I don't know. It's like I've it's so difficult if you're into this and you're so um passionate about K-pop and so passionate about you know the things you talk about in your content, and you know ourselves included here in the podcast where we're just blurting out our thoughts here. It's like
Yes.
at the very least, like we're critical with the things that we talk about, but we're critical not to present or embody hate, but rather talk about what are the things that they can do better because we know they can, you know? And it just goes to show you that you can't really attack the idols, but it's okay to attack people, you know? It's
That's what I just don't like. Like people tend to forget that you're a human as well and that you have feelings. And I feel like the hate train and cancel culture, especially if you get a hit tweet Like for example, people are hating on me. If you talk about me, your tweet is more likely to go viral, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I just don't like. Like some people ride on the hate train for the clout, and they tend to forget that despite the number of followers we have, we're still people and we're still
Exactly.
normal people. It's
Yeah.
just different because we have a number of followers, but that shouldn't change anything. So I feel like that's what's just really frustrating in a sense. It feels like you can't make a mistake.
Yeah. That's
And
true.
that's what
Yeah.
I don't
You
like.
got to be perfect too, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like perfect doesn't really always mean good, you know? And that's the thing where people will people tend to look at you in a bad light if you're doing something that might be somewhat critical to
Yes.
who or what they love. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you hate the person, or that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a negative thing. It's like I think you gotta differentiate hate against criticism, where if you criticize something, doesn't necessarily mean that you hate it. It's like this can be better. That's where educating people,
Yes.
goes. But then hate is just another thing, and you tend to know which of them hate you
Mm.
compared to which of them just wants to help you out.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. And it's like, and
What?
for a lot
Yeah.
of this, it's like, sorry to cut you off, but
It's
for
okay,
a
go
lot
ahead.
of this, it's like the closer you get to where you tend to realize to yourself that you can't really please everyone,
Yes.
the happier your life will be, and that's really the true testament of being what a content creator is. You can't please everyone. You
Yes.
can't always get what you want. So, yeah, it's horrible what you went
Yeah.
through. I can only imagine.
That's what I don't like about it, cause like my ego gets hurt because I'm such a people pleaser. So imagine when that happened to me, like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, it really wrecked me as a person. But ayun, like I just hope um I get where they're coming from as well, because a few of the ones who called me out were like, you have a platform, um like you have to be good influence to the younger people and like the people who are just starting to like BTS, because in K-pop, especially if you're a content creator, um like let's say somebody finds out that you like BTS, and let's say you become popular within the fandom, people will be like, oh, you have to set an example to everyone because what you do affects the image of the group.
Sure.
So it's like it's also hard because I feel like I'm under a microscope most of the time, and people are just waiting for me to make a mistake. And that's what's really scary about it. But as time passes on, like you said, you can't please everybody. So I try to stay true to myself, and I try to show that in my videos more often than not these days. So yeah.
And it's like, and that's a good question. It's like, when people tell you, it's like you have to set a good example of what a fan should be. My question, it's like my rebuttal there is like, what kind of example do you want to show? It's like, do we
Yes.
want to just like have people blindly seeing their groups and loving them and not be, it's like we all have our own preferences when it comes to stuff. It's like, hey, look at me. Hi, my name's Yuki. I loved Boy with Love, and I thought Danger was shit. You know, and it's like that's a thing where it doesn't necessarily mean that I hate BTS, because obviously I don't.
Oh
It's just
yeah.
that, it's like there are preferences that we have. It's like when it comes to song choices, when it comes to outfits, when it comes to whatever they're doing, It's like people tend to criticize idols because they vape. Fuck
Yes.
those people. It's like, there's like I don't give an F. It's like it's like if I vape or if my idols vape all you want, man. It's like it's your life. Like I don't need to control that.
Exactly.
And it's like
Yeah.
you gotta be critical. It's like, oh, okay, so does that mean that if you're a fan and you see, let's say, your idol vaping, because you're a fan, you should tell other people to vape as well? Obviously not, right? It's like I'm not gonna be a catalyst for people to
Exactly.
freaking, oh, come on, damage your lungs and freaking smoke all. It's like, guys, it's like, what kind of example do you want to show to other
Yes.
people that are coming in the fandom, where you should have this sort of like environment when people criticize the idols, that doesn't necessarily mean that they hate them. It's like if you want to create a safe space for a lot of these newer fans, because obviously every day the K-pop community grows,
Yes.
exponentially. So what do we want to instill to the newer generations of fans, the fans of New Jeans, the fans of TXT, the fans of um it's like, well, AB6, those groups that are awesome, great groups, awesome songs, like amazing songs, amazing performances. They have newer fans, they have younger fans. What do we want to give to them as an example?
Yeah.
You can't just love someone blindly. If you
Yes.
hate on something, you can criticize it. It's like if you don't like something, you can criticize that something.
Going
But it
back
doesn't
to the
mean, right?
criticizing, it was
Yeah.
so funny. Funny story, because one of my cousins likes EXO. So she's an XOL, right?
Yeah.
And my uncle's new girlfriend, she's like a new army. She's a newer army. And when she found out that my cousin was an XOL,
Mhm.
she was like, "Oh, Sam's an army and you're an XOL. So do you guys fight all the time? Cause
Yeah.
like XOLs and army are known to fight all the time, right?" And my cousin's just like, "No, I respect her thoughts about EXO, and she respects my thoughts about BTS and army.
BTS.
So I feel like that's what it is. Everyone has their own likes and
For
dislikes,
sure.
and again, going back, not saying that you hate BTS, but you also have your own opinion, and that's okay. And going back to that, you can't please everybody.
That's true. Yeah. That might have been like I saw your face when I said that danger was shit, and I
I
was
was
like,
like,
I was like, she's stressing out, okay, but
I'm
it's like it
stressing.
is what it is. It's
Yeah.
like even with girl groups that I know, it's like it's like I love Les Seraphim, but I think they don't sing, they can't sing, things like that, where it's like it just happens. It's like you still love them,
Yeah.
but you gotta. It's like you also gotta accept. It's like the things that are not good about them. And this is me coping when people are saying that Les Seraphim can't sing because okay, yeah, they can't, but Yeonjin, shucks, still love you, girl. You know, it's like you can't sing, but okay, cool. It's like I'm cool with that.
I
And
don't
it's
know
like
why people can't accept that others have opinions on certain groups.
that's true. It's like I can't love everything that you love.
Exactly.
You know, if
Everyone's
if you
different.
yeah, it's like if you love freaking putting your hand in crap all the time whenever your dog poops. It's like you can't expect me to love that. So obviously that's a exaggerated example, but you get what I mean, right?
Yeah.
And I just was like I was looking into was like what Sakura from the Seraphim was going through, with the recent documentary, and it was so heartbreaking for me. It's like I was also one of those critical ones, but not critical in a way na parang shit, this girl sucks. It's
Yeah,
like
like you're
it's like
throwing hate towards
yeah,
her.
no, not at all. It's like I was like, oh my god, she was so bad. What are we doing? It's like I think she needs more training, and this is like obviously management that needs to give this to her. But at the same time, it's like you're not seeing me one of those keyboard warriors posting things like, just this band, blah 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 blah. It's like
I
it's
think
not
that's what's
good.
hard nowadays. Like people can't really differentiate. Not not saying that everybody's like this, but there are a few people out there who can't differentiate the difference between hate and criticism.
Yeah.
So it's pretty difficult, and I feel like that's where the whole thing about being under a microscope comes in, because like you have to watch what you say, or else you'll be canceled right away.
That's true. That sucks. Anyway, before we cap off the episode, I want to ask you, Sam's, like, is there anything that you want to instill for at least like the newer generations of BTS fans like out there that now that you've dealt with a lot of this in the past?
Oh yeah, definitely. We actually talked about this in the Blog of Play episode. So
Oh, cool.
I'm just gonna say the same thing.
Sure.
Because a lot of fans these days, they feel pressured, especially like when it comes to voting, streaming. Because I always see that online. Me and Katie actually talked about, and we were giving advice to newer fans that don't feel pressured. Like, standing a group is supposed to be fun, and like if you want to vote, then do it when you can. Because I know a lot of
If you
the
can.
generation now are like super young, right? So they're in school. So just be a fangirl at a pace that fits your lifestyle. So it's I know it can be pressuring when people are like, "Ah, you're not an army because you didn't vote." Like, that's so disheartening. Like,
That's so gatekeeping.
yeah,
It's like
you can't just say somebody's not an army because they don't have the time to vote. Like, if you have the time to vote, then good for you. But so many people have like school going on. I know, like, there are a lot of streamers for BTS that are in school, but some people just really don't have the time. So yeah, fangirl at your own pace, and it should be fun. Don't be pressured by the fandom, because the more that you feel pressured and the more that it feels like a job, you won't enjoy. So I've learned to do that. Like, before I get so pressured, like, oh my god, I need to stream, I need to vote because people will think I'm not like this ganito. But so, me not having that time anymore, like over the pandemic, I try to incorporate that in my content and be like, okay, guys, so BTS is nominated for like this, like that. This is where you can vote, and then this is how you can vote. So, like, if you have the time, then go
go
vote.
do it.
And
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So, yeah, those are the certain things that I try to put into my content, because maybe somebody else has the time that I don't. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, K-pop is supposed to be fun, you know?
It is. It's supposed to
and
be fun. You're just supposed to enjoy.
yeah. So I guess like, when it comes to it's like content creators like us, for instance, where it's like, we go probably like a level deeper when it comes to that. But at the same time, it's like, not losing the essence of what K-pop is for us, which is just a heck of a lot fun listening and watching, It's like I can so vividly remember it's like something like back in 2012 where usually the videos you watch in Mix or in MTV are mostly just it's like Western music videos that are either black, white, or blue, or right, and then you get something like I Got a Boy that has like a plethora of multiple colors. So
Yeah.
that kind of feeling where it's like this is not really the usual thing that people watch, but heck yeah, I enjoy this. And that had become the norm over time when it comes to K-pop being the niche market to us being the market,
Yes.
And again, it's like it doesn't make you less of a fan if you can't support the group in one way.
Yes. Everyone has different ways of supporting.
Exactly.
Like for me, since I don't have the time to stream as much as I did in the pandemic, because like my workload right now is
Yeah.
super duper hectic.
Adulting, it's like
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. When they have concerts, that's what I go to, and in the car I play their music. So everyone has their own way of supporting their groups, and that's one thing that I want to put out there, because I feel like it's such a common thing these days where they're like that yun nga na parang, oh, you're not an army because you don't stream as much as I
Ugh,
do. Yeah,
disgusting people.
that's something I hate talaga. So parang I want to instill that just because you're not doing something that other people are doing doesn't mean they're much more of a fan than you. So everyone
For
has
sure.
their own way of supporting the group. And I hope that's what everyone can respect.
Heck yeah. Respect is the word of the past two episodes.
Yes,
Yeah.
respect.
That's awesome. Well, Sammie, it's been fun. Where can we find you? And yeah, it's like what do you want to promote on the show?
Yes, again, I do have an episode with Blogger Play about fangirling as well. So you can go check that out. It will be up next week. And if you want to follow me on all my socials, you can follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Sammie De Leon. With two N's at the end.
Awesome. Now, to cap things off, I want to ask you, Love Wins All, music video of the year?
Yes!
Freaking A! It's like so good.
I
That's
hope
the
so. Oh my god.
I know, right? Not unless like BTS or like releases something like before the
Oh.
year ends. You know, it's like that probably takes the cake. That even with
Yes,
BTS
it was
releasing,
such a good
you know,
music video.
what a great music video, right?
It really such a good concept. Hands down.
I'm probably also biased because I'm a big IU fan. And, you know, having IU and it's like, I would have wished though, it's like, this is me wishful thinking, right? It's like, Jungkook would have probably had a field day because Jungkook had the biggest crush on IU. And
a lot
it's like,
of people were saying the same thing.
yeah, right? It's like, if ever that Jungkook was the leading man for the music video, it's like, what the hell? It's like, I would be so
Music
happy
video
for
of the
him.
year for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's awesome. Alrighty, that's the show. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in, and we'll see you again for the next one. Peace, guys. Bye.
Bye.
The Kingdom Podcast is brought to you by the Kingdom Podcast creative team. You can find us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and TikTok at the Kingdom Pod PH. All episodes are available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Thanks for listening to the show, and see you next time.
The opinions of podcast creators, hosts, and guests are not necessarily reflective of the official stance of the Pod Network Entertainment, its hosts, or other network programs. The content created by the people behind the podcast is personal and not meant to harm any religion, ethnicity, group, organization, company, or individual.